Scotland, a land of ancient history, breathtaking landscapes, and a fiercely independent spirit. For centuries, this nation has been part of a united kingdom, but a powerful movement has always questioned that union. This is the story of Scottish nationalism, which is a political force that has reshaped modern Britain and continues to ask the most fundamental question of all: should Scotland be an independent country? Long ago, people sowed the seeds of Scottish identity. The wars of independence in the late 13th and early 14th centuries, with figures like William Wallace and Robert the Bruce, forged a sense of nationhood. This was cemented in on April 6, 1320, with the Declaration of Arbroath, a letter to Pope John XXII asserting Scotland's right to be a sovereign nation. The letter said, "As long as 100 of us remain alive, never will we on any conditions be subjected to the lordship of the English. It is in truth not for glory, nor riches, nor honors that we are fighting, but for freedom alone, which no honest man gives up but with life itself." However, the modern story of Scottish nationalism is more recent. It is not simply a tale of medieval battles, but a complex 20th century political movement. The Acts of Union in 1707 saw the Scottish and English parliaments merge, creating the Kingdom of Great Britain. For a long time, the political case for separatism was not a dominant one. But in the 1970s, as the British Empire decolonized, many Scots asked where they fit in the world. The discovery of North Sea oil in the 1970s was a major catalyst. The Scottish National Party, or SNP, famously campaigned with the slogan, "It is Scotland's oil." This economic argument, that Scotland's resources should benefit Scotland, became central to the independence movement. The push for devolution, or a separate Scottish parliament with some powers, gained momentum. This culminated in a referendum in 1997, where Scots overwhelmingly voted to establish their own parliament, which officially opened in May 1999. With its own parliament, the SNP grew in power. In 2011, they won an outright majority, paving the way for the historic independence referendum in 2014. The question was simple: should Scotland be an independent country? The debate was intense, passionate, and divided the nation. The Yes campaign centered on the idea of a democratic deficit. Proponents argued that Scotland often votes for parties, like the SNP, that are not in power in the UK-wide government. Independence would allow Scotland to make its own decisions on issues like the economy, social policy, and international relations. They claimed that Scotland's resources, particularly in energy, could create a fairer, more prosperous society. The argument was also cultural, that Scotland is a distinct nation with its own values, and only with independence could it truly reflect those values in its laws and institutions. The No campaign, however, warned of the economic risks. They highlighted that Scotland's economy is deeply integrated with the rest of the UK, and leaving would create an uncertain future. They questioned whether an independent Scotland could afford to fund its public services, pointing to the size of the Scottish banking sector compared to its GDP and the support it received from the UK government during the 2008 financial crisis. They also raised the issue of currency and border checks, arguing that independence would create new barriers. The campaign also spoke to a shared British identity and the benefits of a united front on the global stage. The final result was 55% to remain in the UK and 45% to leave. The union was saved, but the issue was far from settled. Then came Brexit. In 2016, the UK voted to leave the European Union. In Scotland, however, the vote was 62% to remain. This result gave Scottish nationalists a new, powerful argument. The SNP, in particular, claimed that Scotland was being forced to leave a union it wanted to be a part of, and that this had justified a second independence referendum. Recent years have seen this debate intensify. The legal authority to hold another referendum has been a key point of contention between the Scottish and UK governments. The SNP has tried to frame general elections as a de facto referendum on independence, though this strategy has also faced internal party challenges. The debate continues to evolve, with new arguments emerging on issues from energy policy to constitutional law. But the core question remains: is Scotland's future best served as part of the United Kingdom, or as an independent nation forging its own path in the world? The people of Scotland have a choice to make, and the world is watching to see what they decide. The story of Scottish nationalism is represented as a story of identity, democracy, and a nation's unending quest for its place in the world.